This trip to New York City started out a little differently. We boarded the Frank Sinatra ferry, climbed up to the top, and soon we were underway to Manhattan. It was a quick trip across the Hudson River, and before you knew it, we were walking on the streets of New York City. Walking down 7th Avenue, I spotted the new and improved yellow button sculpture, and I was super, super excited. Yes, I looked like a total tourist with a phone in my hand, walking down the street, but soon we were in the garment district and it didn't matter. Before you knew it, we were ready to start fabric shopping. You won't believe what I got. Metro Textiles was a treasure hunt fabric shopping experience. When I walked in and just was shocked by the sheer number of bolts and like how everything's arranged, I kind of took a second to just take it all in. And Kashi, the owner, told me, if you need help, just tell me what you're looking for. I know where everything is. And he was 100% right. Everything I asked him for, he pointed me to the right direction. The first fabric I decided to look for was this sequin fabric. I saw this spread in Berta magazine. I think this is from spring of 2023. I absolutely love this dress, and I've been looking for sequin fabric ever since. So he pointed me to this one, which it's kind of hard to see that it's sequins because it is actually a chiffon fabric, which you can tell from the edges over here, with a sequin overlay. Now, it gives you the effect of a sequin fabric without the price of a sequin fabric. I bought this and it was $20 a yard, which I was kind of like, oh, that seems a little bit steep, but it's sequins and I do really like it, even though it's not exactly what I'm looking for. And then when I got to Mood later in the day and asked to see a similar fabric, the one that looked the closest to the picture was $415. So then that made me really happy that I decided to buy this fabric. So you can see in the video, it probably looks more like just a shine to it, but I'll do a close-up so you can see the individual sequins that are sewn on the fabric. It has a bit of a stiffer hand, so you can kind of see that on the dress form. It's not super drapey, but there is some drape to it. But the good thing is, because the style dress that I'm looking at is more boxy, this fabric will work very well for that. So I got 3 yards of this and then ended up getting like an extra quarter of a yard just because of the way the fabric needed to be cut to keep the sequins in their panels the right way. And while I was there, I remembered to buy some lining. This is just some really basic black lining. It is rayon though, so it feels silky. It is the most silk-like, lining you can get that's not silk, and it was a good price, which I cannot remember right now. I think it was $8 a yard. And so I bought that to go with my dress. It's gonna feel really nice against my skin because those sequins are a little bit scratchy. The next fabric I fell in love with was actually kind of leaning against some of the main walls of fabric, and it is this gorgeous red and black knit crepe. It feels like a crepe. I mean, it might not be, but that's what it feels like. It has like a pebbly texture, let's put it that way. And I absolutely love this fabric. Now, these are not my colors because this fabric is not for me. It is for my sister. She was pet sitting while we were out of town, and I decided that I was going to buy her some fabric to make her a DVF wrap dress. Now, if you're not familiar, Vogue reissued the Diane von Furstenberg original classic wrap dress for the 50th anniversary, and the view I will be making in this dress is view A. So it is the kind of midi length with the long sleeves with collar and cuff. I've been wanting to make this pattern, or let's put it this way, my sister has been wanting me to make her this pattern for quite some time. And so when they reissued it last year, I hopped on that and paid full price for it because I wanted to have it in my pattern stash. And then it's funny because I was looking at this fabric and I was holding it up and like kind of draping it and just looking at the drape and how beautiful it is. And another lady in the store was like, that would make a great DVF wrap dress. And I said, funny you should mention that because that's exactly what I plan to do with this fabric. So you can see, I think this is polyester probably. It might be nylon, I'm not sure. That was the one thing about Metro Textiles. You kind of had to just kind of guess the fabrics because I forgot to ask Kashi what it is, but it's probably polyester. But you can see how absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous this fabric is. and just how beautiful the drape is. And it's just going to be an incredible show-stopping dress. Next, I told Kashi that I was interested in some of his linen fabric, so I moved down the row closer towards the window and was plopped in front of the linen fabrics. This was the one that caught my eye, and this is totally crazy, but y'all know how much I love a good print. And this one I call Candy Apple. If you look closely, you can see why. These are not my usual colors, but I just thought this was such a fun and funky 80s nostalgia vibe that it had to come home with me, and it did. Now, the funny thing is, I just keep thinking that when I show this fabric to Grandma, she's gonna want a shirt and some drawstring pants or elastic pants made out of this fabric. And this is one of those instances where I feel like the pattern by itself is so much that it would be better suited cut into smaller pieces with more style lines than I usually like, just because there's a lot going on here. So anyway, we'll see what Grandma says. This is a cotton and flax blend in linen. It's like kind of like an 80s fun graffiti. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments if you love it or hate it. I think there's only 2 reactions to this fabric, but I really feel like Grandma's gonna love it and be like, it would be so nice if you could make me something. So of course, you know, I'll have to. But she also likes this weight fabric, and she has historically worn a lot of linen. So I think she'd enjoy this. Next up is a straight up flax, 100% flax linen. This color is so gorgeous. And when I saw it, I knew exactly what I wanted to make with it. This is the Sew House 7 Wild, let me say it right, Wildwood wrap dress. There's a lot of W's there. And I'm pretty sure this is the exact same color and possibly the exact same fabric they made up the sample in for the picture, because it's the same color and it's linen. And I just kind of went a little crazy when I spotted this, because I was like, I love this dress. Not that I've made it yet, but I just love the style of the dress, but I also love it in this color. And you know, I do not wear solids very often, but this is such an incredible color. I just couldn't pass it up, so I had to buy it. So this one came home with me, and the plan is to make this at some point this summer, because I'd really just, I'd love to have a gorgeous linen wrap dress. And I mean, it's just gonna be so beautiful. I can't wait. Now this next fabric is a little wild, but when I saw it, I knew I had to buy it because I already have the earrings to match it. So this is what I'm calling Greek eyeball fabric, because that's what it reminds me of. And I don't usually buy light colored background fabrics, but I had to make the exception on this one because it was just so fantastic. And if you're wondering what my earrings look like, this is what they look like. And I just think that's gonna be perfect with this dress. Now you may be wondering, okay, Tony, that's wild, but what pattern are you gonna use? And that's where I really got inspired all of a sudden, because as mentioned earlier in the year, I want to make this Isaac Mizrahi dress. I'm gonna get this to a size 14 so I can adjust it. But I was thinking like, oh my gosh, that would be so striking, because the dress itself is white, so you can kind of get the idea of what it's gonna look like in this shape, but then the eyeballs would make it so much more me than just a plain white dress. So that's what's gonna happen. It's going to be this. This is I think this is a polyester. There's a little bit of stretch, so it's probably, and it is a twill weave. It kind of feels like a very expensive men's necktie that's not silk. So it has a nice hand to it. The drape is really pretty. And you can see all the eyeballs on it a little bit better when I hold it up here. There were some kind of scuff marks here and there on it. It looks like somebody stepped on the fabric at some point in time. And so I got 5 yards of this for the price of 3 yards. I think I paid $10 a yard. I think most of the fabrics, with the exception of the sequins and the lining, were $10 a yard. And so, you know, that's got 2 yards free. That's not too bad. And I don't know that it won't just wash out. So I'm gonna try that. Now this fabric was a challenge to get. It was in the middle of one of the walls, and thankfully Dan was there to help Kashi pull out some of the upper bolts and then pull out this one, because when I saw this, it just reminded me of a skirt that I already have and I love. This is my favorite travel skirt. This is what I travel in whenever I have a long car ride or a plane trip, and it's summertime, so it works with a tank top. And I have a bunch of different tank tops in all different colors to match the skirt. And I was thinking this would be fun to make in the same pattern, and just have a different style, have some different colors and a different kind of stripe pattern. So the pattern for this, and let's see, when did I make this? So I made the first one in July of 2022, and it is version A, which has a fold over waistband, and it is like ankle length. Not only is it comfortable, it is super fast to make. I want to say this is one of the first projects that I ever sewed that I got done in about an hour. So maybe we'll do it as a 1 hour time sewing challenge coming up here, because this is fun. It's summer. Let's see if we can make that happen. And last but not least is what I'm calling the Miami Vice fabric. I love the 80s, and anything that's 80s nostalgia just calls to me. And this was one of those fabrics that called. Now, this is not something I would usually sew with. This feels like swimsuit material. So maybe I'll make a swimsuit, or maybe I'll make a, sleeveless knit dress. I just see myself wearing this in Miami, and I just think this would be really fun to go out in with some high heel or wedge sandals, and it would just be super fun. But you never know, maybe I will try my hand at swimwear, and then this would be absolutely perfect. And it's just really fun. This is 100% polyester. There's a lot of lycra in it. It is very stretchy, but it's not super breathable. So kind of a trade-off there to wear in the humid climes of Miami, but I just loved it so much I couldn't leave it behind. Now you might be wondering, how much did you spend at Metro Textiles, and how much fabric did you get in the end? And the truth is, I did not know. I had to measure all of this fabric and figure it out. So the total came to about 30 yards of fabric once you factor in all of this and this one that's getting ready to fall off the table. So all of these fabrics came out, I think it was 30 and 1/3. So when I subtract out the sequin fabric, which was $60, and it was 3 1/3 yards, that means we're left with 27 yards of fabric. And the total cost would have been $206 at that point. So basically, I got this fabric, excluding this one, for just over $7 a yard. So that's kind of crazy that I bought dead stock designer fabric in New York City for that price. Now, obviously, they were priced differently, but just as an average, since I don't have the individual prices, not too bad for some of these very unusual and fun fabrics. Silk thread doesn't look like much from the street. In fact, I think the last time I was in New York, I walked right past. But this time I went inside, and I'm glad I did, because it is super organized and it has everything you could possibly need for sewing and making patterns, getting notions, and all the thread and zippers you could possibly want. Zippers in all colors. It was just amazing. Half of the back of the store is full of thread, and it made me wish that I had actually made the effort to pull some swatches and get some fancy silk thread, but alas, no. I moved on to the invisible zipper aisle because I did need to buy one for my sister-in-law, and I found the most wondrous thing ever, the YKK color chart. All the colors in actual zipper tape. The cool thing about Silk Thread is that they also have a website to go along with most of their products. And they've got zippers from YKK, Everbright, Excella. They've got a wide variety of threads, plus plenty of design tools, scissors, and some other random items. Now, what really caught my attention in the store and on the website are the YKK invisible zippers, which there we go. I showed you what they look like in the store, but you can still get them for a really great price online, which is very exciting. Now you can choose your length. Let's go with like a 12-inch, half inch. It's an additional 25 cents, so it's $1.50. But then the best part is the color options that you have. I mean, you can get super, super specific with light, dark. I mean, they have like all these shades of green. I ended up buying a red zipper to match a dress for my sister-in-law that she needed to replace. I think I was between the 820 and 818. I think I ended up with the 820, which was the more Christmas red of the dress. But it's really cool to be able to have such an incredible choices for such a reasonable price. It's a good place to come find zippers, especially if you're looking for a really specific color that you can't find in real life. If you're in New York, Silk Thread is definitely worth the trip. Ah, Mood. What can I say except it's always a pleasant shopping experience. The store is well laid out, everything is labeled by sections, and if you can't find what you're looking for or how much something costs, you can always ask an employee. All of their employees actually sew and use the products in the departments that they work in. So I spent the bulk of my time at Mood downstairs in the cotton section because they just put all of their 100% cotton fabrics in the same couple of aisles. So I was looking for some specific weight and type of fabrics, and I kind of had to dig through because it just had like lightweight, medium weight, shirting weight, and those kind of signage, and then I had to go through each bolt and figure out exactly what it was that I wanted. But don't worry, it all worked out in the end. Now these fabrics are all my colors. One of the fabrics that was on my list to buy was voile, and I was really excited when I found this one. This is a Trina Turk print, circa 2017, not 1917, 2017, and that is the right side. You can see it is gorgeous. It is super lightweight. The hand is just, let me throw this out so you can see how beautiful this drape is. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I fell in love with this, and it was $14 a yard. It was the end of the bolt, and so the total amount came to 3.5 yards. But George, who was cutting my fabric, said, I'll give you, if you buy 3.25, I'll give you a quarter for free. And I said, I will take that because, you can't ever have too much fabric, and this is so beautiful. I'm not sure what I want to do with it, but 3.5 yards will give me a lot of room for options. Next up, I have this gorgeous lawn. Obviously 100% cotton. It is super soft and lightweight. I love this print. It reminds me of monarch butterflies. Now I know they're not purple, but the purple kind of, to me, feels like the activity of the wing flapping. It's very loud. And I don't usually choose things that have orange in them, but I just fell in love with this and it just made me happy. So of course it had to come home with me. You know how I buy fabric. This was $14 a yard, and it was in the lightweight cotton section. Keep in mind that with a print, there is a right side and a wrong side. So this is the right side of this fabric, and then the wrong side is a little bit more muted. You could always use the wrong side if you wanted less vibrant color, but that's actually the side it's printed from. I did get 3 yards of this, so I would have enough flexibility to, make something. Inevitably, I need like 2 5/8 yards, and I have 2 yards. So since my last trip to New York to go fabric shopping, I have settled on I'm just buying 3 yards of everything I need, just to be on the safe side. Next up, we have this very geometric print. This is, I think this is shirting. Is that the right side? Nope. See, I keep showing you guys, it's folded with the right side to the inside. So this is the right side. It is just fun. Once again, $14 a yard. It is a lightweight. This feels like it's no, it just looks like I think it's just shirting. Nothing fancy, not sateen or anything, but it is just a beautiful weight. The texture is amazing. And for $14 a yard, I think that's a bargain. I mean, we're getting to a point where we're not going to have a lot of fabric options. So when you can go buy something in person and look at it, and it's this beautiful, then you just have to buy it. Plus, I don't know when I'm going back to New York City. So this is how it drapes. You can kind of see the print a little bit better. It's very graphic. I don't know what I'd do with this. Maybe make a dress. It would be a good weight for a dress, and it would drape very nicely. So the next fabric is also shirting. This might be poplin, I'm not sure, but we'll call it shirting because it feels like that too. This was just kind of one of these funky wild prints that I found, and I thought it would make a great shirt for Dan. So I walked the fabric over to him because he was on a different aisle, and he said he would like a shirt. But since I didn't have a pattern in mind, I had to ask George how much he thought I would need to make a button-down men's long sleeve shirt, and he suggested 2.5 yards. So that's what I ended up getting. This was $14 a yard, and this is also 100% cotton. So next is, this is actual shirting. This is Mood. This is called Mood Luxury Shirting. You know I don't buy a lot of solids, but I am going to make a shirt in the one of the Palmer Pletch fit patterns, one of the fitted shirts. And so I wanted it in a solid color so you could see the lines, and I'm gonna do probably a fabric fitting with it as well. So I wanted it to be able to be seen really easily, and that's where the solid color comes in. This is also 100% cotton. It feels great. It kind of has like a satiny sheen to it. I don't think this isn't sateen though, it's just shirting. So it's like a nice high quality men's shirt fabric. That's what this feels like. And I got, how much of this did I get? I got 2 yards of this. I did look up the pattern, and so I knew how much I needed. And it's just really beautiful. This was $18 a yard, so it was one of the more expensive yardages that I bought, but I think it's going to be worth it, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it because purple is my favorite color. And you know, I can always use a dress shirt to wear with a suit to court, and one that fits even better. So last but certainly not the least, this might be the most most fabulous fabric that I have found on this trip, or one of them. We won't, you know, hurt any of the fabric's feelings by saying this. I'm just looking at the side to see if it has the copyright information on this. So this is another Trina Turk print. This one is a basket weave. So there is a texture on this fabric. It's definitely a heavier weight fabric. Let me pull it apart so you can see. I think it's comparable to more of like a heavy linen kind of weight. So it's definitely on the heavier side, but it is 100% cotton and it is a basket weave. So when you look closely, you can actually see like the double threads going warp and weft interwoven, and that's just really cool. So this one does not have any specificity as to which collection it's from, but it does say Trina on the fabric design. So we know it's a Trina Turk, and it was labeled as such. This one was also $18 a yard, and I just loved it. That wraps up my New York fabric haul for 2025. If you want to see more of Mood and the other stores that I visited my first go to New York City, you totally want to check out this video coming up next. I know it'll inspire you to go sew fabulous things. I'll see you over there.